You know what I don't want to miss in this conversation is we spoke about the concussion came up, and you guys have connected with a company that's doing an interesting, gum guard in rugby.
Yep.
And you use a plate,
No,
you educate me on that because I'm going to butcher it.
Yeah,
I think it's a super interesting topic. You're allowed to speak about it.
Yeah, of course we are. So we got hold of a guy from basically our head physio. Sounds great, doesn't it? Our head physio is a South African guy called Wayne Diesel who used to work in rugby. So he's done rugby, basketball in the US. He's done American football. He's done everything, right? And he's the most knowledgeable old fella you'd ever meet in your life. Yeah, and he's got magic hands basically as well. But he also, the knowledge that has been gained over this time, and especially when it comes to concussion, has proved invaluable to, the later parts of Tahnee's rehabilitation. And basically he got hold of me one day and said, have you seen what they're using at the Six Nations rugby in the UK? He got hold of me and said, have you seen what they're using at the Six Nations, which is the tournament of rugby, which is England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Italy and France. And what was happening is Prevent Biomechanics, or this is awkward, Prevent something, one of them is working with OPRO, the mouthguard people. And what they'd done is they designed a chip to go into a mouthguard. And every rugby player at that tournament had the chip in. And it can be overlooked by the doctor in the stands. So he has a connection to every single person's mouthguard. And they know when, because it's directly connected through your teeth to your jaw, they know when it's been released. So for example, a kicker in rugby, if they've taken it out and put it in their sock, they know when that's happened. So, there's all these things that come up on the data. So basically, we looked into it more, and we got hold of the company and said, look, have you made anything for cycling? And then that we told them more about it. We went in depth about what we can do. And there's obviously ranges that it can be set to as well. So that all had to be, thought about and discussed and then monitored on what we do best. So when we first had them, they were obviously coming up with loads, and then we they're kind of, how do you call it? There's the analysis is done on what the peaks and the troughs are for it.
Of the frequency?
Yeah, the frequency. Exactly. So
frequency of movement, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So also, because of how important it is to breathe during a race run as well, at the time I didn't want, you'd see the free riders with mouth guards, but they haven't got to do an intense 3.5 minute run. So I inquired about whether they could make it into a retainer, and they already had this, so it's perfect. So basically everyone gets tested, mould as if you were going to go and get a brace fitted to your teeth, and then they get the retainer done, and within that it's got the microchip in the retainer. So, and it charges in its own little case, and then basically Chris Kilmurray, coach, has it on the iPad at ours at the team pits. Each athlete connects it to their phone as well, and then if there's any anomaly that comes up, the guys that Prevent, the doctors there, can see it, and they can, so basically if we have a problem that we think's major, we can check it with them, and they come back to us and tell us, whether what we're thinking, because obviously this is still in development, what we're thinking is right. And so, for example, Phoebe's came up when she was training out in Schladming. It came up that she'd had a hit. Now we knew before, as Phoebe was doing it, because it comes up on the team kind of computer. So we know that Phoebe's just had a hit. We then checked it out, and it's like, Phoebes, you need to take some time off. But then Phoebes had it on her phone, so then we had a video call with her, and it shows directly where she was hit as well on her head. So again, this is all purely because it's directly connected to your skull. It can show exactly where it was. You can timestamp it to your GoPro, so you see how bad the crash was. And it's just given us this invaluable kind of information to take care of our athletes at that next level now. And it's not only taking care of them now, I think it's doing stuff which will give them longevity in the future of their sport. Because we you know, like after the slabbing one with Phoebe, it's like, Phoebe, you need to take some time off. And no matter what she'd done, whether, you know, that was all on her expenses, and it's like that. Phoebes, I don't care, you're not swinging a leg over a bike for another 4 days, and then, you know, you go and do a test after that, and then see whether you can get back on the bike. But yeah, I mean, we're loving it, and it's not only that, the information that we found, I know there's companies that put it on the helmet, and I can't, they've done all the testing, and it's the skull is the one and only place you can get the correct readings.
Yeah, so it's just taking a lot of the guesswork out. You're trying to use data for your decision of like, hey, I think you should rest up. And they're like, no, I feel fine. It's like, okay, but now we've got a lot more data to present to an athlete.
Do you mean data? Is that what you're talking?
What did I say? Data.
Data.
I'm in America. Data. It sounds cooler when it's data.
Does it? I think it sounds cooler if it's data, but anyway.
It is data.
But yes, no, exactly.
American accent.
But no, you're right, and that's the thing. I mean, I personally don't know everything about it. You know, Coach Chris and Physio Wayne plus Eric, the guy that does Prevent, those guys have been discussing ins and outs on what we can do for the athletes and how we can help them. You know, I just put everything in motion that we kind of get these things, but it also allows everyone to come back and talk to me and say, look, you know, oh, this has happened, or this has happened, and it gives us, and it's horrible to say, but it's the all-seeing eye, but it's the all-seeing eye to make sure your athletes are healthy. Yeah. You know, and that, to me, again, is just invaluable. You know, the further we go, you know, you talked about the pot and Tahnee's pot, you know, her career is extremely valuable to us as a team as well. And we've got to look after that the best we can. And the things that we found out during Tahnee's concussion, it's mind-boggling what we found out. And it's not only that, it's mind-boggling how far behind, you know, we are as teams. The sport is, you know, the governing bodies are, you know, and the race organisers. You know, there's not enough put onto this. You're saying we had the conversation, you know, there's also that now, I don't know how to say this properly, but now, you know, it's like, oh, I've hit my head. You know, and if you didn't have one of these mouth guards, you wouldn't know whether that's something that needs to be taken care of or whether the rider's okay to go again. You know, so not only, we can also now put the confidence back into the rider. You know, Tahnee's had a few hugies coming back this year, you know, like properly this year, but we're able to look at the data, and she's nervous every time she does that because of what she's been through. So she comes back and, you know, oh, I'm nausea, you know, that's due to the crash. It's not, you know, we've got the data that says... It's not
always due to a concussion.
Yeah, it's not always due to a concussion, and it's not only there. So we're eliminating all the guesswork. And that, again, like I said, it's proven invaluable.
So invaluable. And, I mean, this conversation has been going on for quite a long time, like concussions, and we need like a doctor or a group of doctors. And it's like...
Absolutely.
So maybe... these conversations, the more we have them, the more the organisers can hopefully realise and be like, okay, isn't this like if the teams are forced to do it and they can even fit the bill, I don't know the price of this thing.
It's actually not that expensive.
If it's not that expensive and each rider, like to have a licence has to have one, then that cost is taken care of. And then one doctor that can interpret the data.
Well done. Because it's data. Go on, you carry on. You be you.
I say data.
No, you do you. Come on.
He doesn't even have to be on site.
No, he doesn't have to be on site.
So at least if it's like a really aggressive crash, so past baseline, it's like, I've got the authority from UCI, Warner Brothers, to say you need to sit out.
But the thing is as well,
because back in the day, it was going by feel and going by cowboy medicine.
You say back in the day, that's still happening now.
True.
You know, they're coming down, they're going to the medical. Oh, did you bang your head? Yeah, I think so. But you don't know. You don't know what you've done because you've been in the crash. Yes. Right? And the amount of times They come down, they're still dazed and confused, but sometimes that's not because they're concussed. It's because they've ragdolled, or they've done this, they've done that, they've done the other.
And this is what the doctor helps you
and
with.
they're shook up.
It's actually not dangerous. You haven't injured anything.
Exactly. You're good to go. You can take a breather, go and get some water, chill out, blah, blah, blah. You're good to go. But it also says you're not good to go. And if you're not good to go, we need to protect those riders that are not good to go.
And have you brought this up to the organisers? Like, you're trying to get this conversation a little bit more.
I've brought it up in
open?
a couple of conversations, and I'm we're going to push it more and more, because
it's probably a UCI thing, right? Like, if they're the governing body, does it not need to go through them and then push back down?
Yeah, I don't know, and this sounds. This is extremely selfish, but currently I'm looking after my own, which obviously we all do.
No.
But I do want to at some point. I have had a couple of conversations. We are pushing it forward, but the problem is, as you know, there are other brands that make other things. And they're always pushing as well.
Fair enough.
Ours, the beauty of what we're using, it's proven in multi-sports.
Yeah.
And it's not only that. It's Yeah, there's the data there.
The data.
The data is there.
I have actually forgotten how I say it. No, South Africa is data.
Is it?
Because I say ya, as in
And there
yes,
you go.
and ya,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
data.
Yeah, I say data.
Data is American. Producer is data American.
Data.
So I say data. What did I say the first time we
Data.
laughed?
You said data.
Oh, you make me doubt my own language.
No.
My own accent.
Apologies. Data and data.
There's like 3 ways to say it.
But now as well, what we've also found is that none of our team will ride without their mouth guard.
You noticing the riders like, where's my mouth guard?
Yeah. They're
cool.
literally,
Good habit to
they're
have.
exactly. I mean, I've been at the finish line
I'm
when
keen on testing this thing.
when they've handed it to me as well, because some of the race, like Tahnee Speed 2, hasn't got that many pockets, has it? So it hands me this freaking mouth guard at the bottom as well. It's like, yeah, but I don't mind when Tahnee does it. Obviously, it's family, but when Phoebe does it as well, it's like, come on,
You need, because I have a little youngster at home. He's only 3 months. You need like a dummy clip where you attach it to it and you just clip it to their jersey, and then if it falls out, it just hangs.
Well, their dummy clip is me being the dummy.
Yeah, I think you do enough for the team. I don't think you need to be a dummy clip.